March 2023, a group of researchers formed the Truth Mafia, a collective determined to investigate conspiracies and occult mysteries that have been buried for centuries. With a passion for uncovering the truth, they delve into the darkest corners of history, pop culture, and ancient mysteries, seeking answers to questions that have plagued humanity for ages. The Truth Mafia is led by Tommy Truthful, a man shrouded in mystery and intrigue, dedicated to uncovering the hidden truths behind some of the world's most perplexing and enigmatic phenomena. Their research has led them down countless rabbit holes, from deciphering ancient symbols to exploring the hidden meanings behind popular media and literature. Despite the risks and challenges they face, the Truth Mafia remains steadfast in their quest for knowledge. Will their investigations lead to groundbreaking revelations, or will they unravel an even deeper web of secrets and lies? Only time will tell in this ongoing saga of conspiracy and intrigue.
Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to another episode of the Truth Mafia podcast. Make sure you smash them likes. All links are down in the description. We got some special guests for you today. I'm going to introduce in just 1 second. If we have any problems with the audio or anything, please let us know. I believe we have definitely been under attack for this video. They took down one of my Facebook pages right before it wouldn't go live. So, it might be a little fun today's episode, but we got two amazing guests here with us. My brother from another mother, Doenut Factory, and Jay Dyer. So let me turn your guys' mics on because I have your mics off. There we go.
Yo, what up?
What up, Doenut?
Thank you for having me.
What's up? Glad to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Jay, you're a legend, man. I've been watching you for a long time. I know Doenut's been watching you for a long time, and your content is just phenomenal. So have you seen the painting that's going viral today, Jay?
I did. I just looked at it earlier. It's pretty wild. I'm not surprised. We've seen a lot of art like this. We saw Marina Abramovich standing there with Lord Rothschild above, with a giant Lucifer above him. So I'm not surprised that King Charles will be painted in this sort of bloody, hellish hellscape here.
Yeah, that is what it looked like too. It's like, here, I'm going to play what they got. We don't need the audio on it, but let me add that to here. This is the painting, guys, that we're talking about, if you haven't got to see it yet. And it just, it doesn't look like nothing nice. Why would you even paint this? First of all, there's the monarch butterfly, which we know that is, we see it really ingrained in monarch programming and mind control. So I noticed that right away. And then when you mirror the image, let me pull this off, remove from stage. When you mirror the image, people are saying all kinds of different stuff. People are saying they've seen Baphomet, but what I really seen myself is this painting. And down here, I circled it for you guys. Down there, you see, it looks like, that's what it looks like to me. I see the horns right there, the eye, the nose, the mouth. There's the torso coming out of the mouth. I mean, you can see it clear as day. The head, and it's this part right here, guys. See the torso coming out of the mouth. This kind of represents that whole cyclical life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. And then over here, we have a painting from Ghostbusters. What's his name again, Jay? The Ghostbuster guy?
Vigo.
Yes. And what was didn't his painting come a lot to life or something in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it became like a portal, and he walked through it via ectoplasm. And I mean, the ectoplasm is basically what it looks like. It looks like the king is bathed in ectoplasm there. So,
wow. So I did not know that until just now, guys, that it was connected to portals. So this is crazy because Doenut pointed out some things about it being 6 inches by 6 feet by 6 inches, that whole 666 connection. And the painter Jonathan Yeo, which his name equals in English ordinal, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way through Z is 26. This comes from Kabbalah. It's called Gematria. It comes from Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. So his name equals 128. Now, that's very interesting considering that guy, Jay just said, is tied into a portal, right? Because 128, well, that's the number of CERN. We know CERN is 128. We know the first D-wave quantum computer was 128 qubits. We're on the advantage now, so it's 5,000 qubits. But I'm talking the one back in 2011. It was 128 qubits, that first one. And there's many different words that equal 128. Divided rule is 128. Open the pit. 128. CERN is built on the Temple of Apollo or Apolloseum. So 128 is a very significant code. 9/11. You had the tower collapse at 10:28 a.m. Then you go back to January 28th of 1980. The bridge collapsed in Tampa. Me and Doenut just figured this out the other day. And you fast forward to 2022, the bridge collapsed on January 28th of 2022 in Pittsburgh on the same day Joe Biden was supposed to do the infrastructure bill. So, that's kind of fascinating. And then you have, let's not forget the recent bridge collapse in Baltimore happened at 1:28 a.m., right? And January 28th of 1986, the Challenger blew up, 128. Matthew Perry dies October 28th, which is 128. Obama's movie release, Leave the World Behind, 12/8, 128. So there's definitely something up with this 128 code. Me and Doenut have been looking at it for quite some time now, and it's fascinating that guy's name equals 128, and it's tied to portals, the first D-wave quantum computer. Yeah, man, that's pretty nuts. What do you think, Doenut?
Well, first, that painting, it reminded me of the steganography of John Dee, right? 007 John Dee, the occultist. I'd like to know a little bit about Jay, because he's got the dope 007 intro and all that. How they were hiding skulls through the steganography of that old painting. So that's what it reminded me of. That painting was built for 2 centuries ahead of us, for 200 years ahead. And if you look at all the paintings of the rulers, that one's going to stand out in 200 years from now, I feel like, unless they have some other crazy artist. But I've never seen a painting like that of a royal ever, with that color coding, like it's pink. And that's kind of the Illuminati plans, is over century-long goals for a long time. That's about it for that painting.
It looks like it was painted in some type of, maybe it's some spirit cooking type shit. Who knows? With Abramovich, we see how she paints. It's usually body fluid. So I wouldn't
That's
put
true.
Yeah.
Marina,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably Kate's blood up in there or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's mirrored. This is mirrored, right? So that's with it mirrored. And people say it represents a Baphomet up at the top. I really didn't see that as much as I did that. That's the first thing that popped out at me. And I just couldn't even, it's so vivid. I don't know how anyone don't see it right there. That's clearly a freaking torso. It's the upper part of the torso hanging out of the mouth with its arms dangling down. So yeah, man, it's pretty weird. But they definitely infiltrate the truther community with a lot of these movements. And I've seen a lot of disinformation coming out on Twitter already, or not Twitter. What's the one where all the slow people are on? TikTok. I've seen a lot of disinfo on TikTok already with this. And there's been many truther movements that are still infiltrated till today. 9/11 was a big one that they infiltrated and put a lot of disinfo out. Jay, I heard you know a little bit about this, how they flood the truther community with disinformation.
Well, I was going to say also about that painting. It's interesting that artist has also painted for David Attenborough, who is a big time depopulation advocate. He recently passed away, but he was tied into the World Wildlife Foundation and as well as trolls. And that's really a cover for a lot of environmentalist, depopulation stuff. This it almost looks like it was painted in blood. I mean, I doubt that it was, but it reminds me of this other artist that somebody had sent me this week who was the inspiration for Marina Abramovich. His name was Herman Nitsch. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but this is his artwork. It looks like it's all just blood. Everywhere it's done in blood. I think supposedly he uses cow blood for all of his artwork.
Oh, wow.
And it's all just, like super satanic. Here he is like splashing the blood everywhere. And like I said,
same thing Abrima did when she had that little.
Exactly. Yeah, he's the inspiration. Here's like a human sacrifice so-called artwork that they did.
Oh, what the heck is wrong with these
They're like pulling people apart and stuff. Here's another one.
Damn.
So this is the inspiration for Abramovich, and it kind of goes along with the theme of this artist who clearly wanted it to have a very draconian image. And as you guys probably know, I mean, there's a Dracula spirit to it too, because he's a descendant of Vlad the Impaler. He's always bragging about it. I'm talking about Charles. Yeah. Charles brags about that I'm descended from Vlad the Impaler. That's what he says in the interview. So, but to get to the question of the truther stuff, the Cass Sunstein wrote a paper some years back called Cognitive Infiltration. Well, he that's not the name of the paper. The paper is about 9/11 conspiracies, and it deals with philosophy and epistemology. But in the paper, he talks about the technique of what he calls cognitive infiltration, which is to flood conspiracy groups and online activist groups, truther groups, with a bunch of just ridiculous, goofy stuff, and get them all fighting and debating dumb stuff that would neutralize any real kind of movement or activism.
Yeah, and I just talked to David Gosselin, and he was talking about that same Cass Sunstein was working on this book called Nudge, where it's
he wrote that, correct.
And it's kind of like nudging people to come up with the conclusions for themselves. So, I mean, that's all tied into it all.
Yeah. He's basically focuses on all these different techniques, like you're talking about, for ways to socially engineer beliefs. And nudging is one of those techniques where you don't like outright try to convince somebody. You sort of gradually lead people in the directions that you want to lead them. Exactly.
Right. And the art movement with painting, it's so important to these royals, and even on top of the satanic elements of the whole blood drinking of Dracula or vampires, but even the Savells of the world and all that, U2s, all the artists go there, bow down.
Yeah.
Is this connected at all to the Anglo-American establishment? Is that connected? The queens and the royals.
Yeah, I think they play a key role in it because they are kind of the old line families, the elites that have aligned themselves with the money power and with the corporate power. So I usually link all these groups together. I don't think, it's just this group, that group. All these groups, I think, work together to have the upper hand and to maintain that control, generally speaking. Sometimes there's inter-warfare, I guess, amongst some of the elites. But like, I think a lot of the British royal family, for example, they've tended towards favoring Malthusianism and versions of tiny mustache man philosophy. You had King Edward was a quiet, tiny mustache man supporter. And I think they supported him.
Thank you for not saying that name, too.
Well, we're on YouTube, so yeah.
Yeah, they will take you down. It's crazy, but they let certain people do whole documentaries on them. But,
absolutely, yeah.
God forbid we talk about it.
Sort of inconsistent application of those policies.
Yeah.
Um,
So unreal.
Yeah, so if you read Quigley, for example, he talks about the power structure in Europe and in the UK fostering and aiding Tiny Mustache Man to go to war. They wanted him to do it. They wanted to have World War II for many reasons. But I also think that on top of the support for the sort of eugenics Darwinian worldview that both the British elite and Tiny Mustache Man had, I think there's also this idea of like British intelligence has had a long time connection to a lot of satanic groups. So I suspect that they also have infiltrated and run a lot of satanic groups. And as Doenut mentioned, that kind of goes all the way back to John Dee, the first 007, right? I mean, he was a ritual magician, and he was into angel magic and Enochian magic.
Yeah, Enochian magic. And
I think they've had a long connection. For example, they had a tie-in to the Process Church, which was a satanic group. Savile was actually interviewed in one of the early Process Church magazines, and
wow.
I think that's again, that attests to this close connection to British intelligence.
Wow. And that's
most famous Satanist was a British intelligence asset. So,
right.
have y'all seen that interview at Process magazine with Savile?
No.
Oh yeah, you can look that up. It's crazy.
He's
a nut.
Well, the Process Church is what Manson got into.
Oh, okay. Right.
What's her name? Man, I can't remember her name right now. Paranoid American's homegirl. She just did like a whole documentary on the Process Church.
There's Savile interview in the Process Church magazine.
Those are Sampuco eyes.
He looks totally psychotic.
Yeah,
he is psychotic. Yeah.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, I missed your last comment there, Tommy. What was that?
Oh no! Wasn't he the one connected to that Jersey Island, Savile?
Savile.
Are you talking about
these kids went missing down there?
Kids, yeah, I know what you're talking about. He probably there people have alleged that. Yeah, I think you're right.
Man, they're involved in some very dark demonic things. Now, Jay, there's tons of conspiracies out here that the elites are dealing with some type of reptilian entity. Now, I've always thought they're demonic myself. What do you think they're working with?
Yeah, I would say to whatever degree that manifestation or whatever people have seen, it would be something demonic. I mean, you have, for example, in the New Testament, like Paul, when he's in the book of Acts, when he encounters a possessed girl, the text actually says that she was possessed by a pythonic spirit. So that to me suggests that even in the Bible, there's this idea of like some kind of serpentine demonic imagery going on.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to say the least. Why did ain't the king struggling with cancer right now, or wasn't he supposed to be, or something?
What's that?
There's this real theme going on with cancer. I've noticed. I always pay attention when they use certain talking points. So the king has cancer. Kate Middleton has cancer. There's all these famous people dying of cancer. Yeah, I wonder if there's something deeper to that. The whole cancer motif right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would assume that those people didn't take the stabbies, but when I was on with Deanna Lorraine and we did a show on this, and my first assumption would be that Kate got her stabby.
Maybe so.
I mean, they showed a video of them doing it. And a lot of people said, "Oh, well," but they didn't really get it. Which my assumption would have been that it was, placebo or something, saline.
Yeah, me too.
But maybe she really did.
Yeah. Or I know Biden got the medicine at exactly the timestamp at 3:22 p.m. Like right when it hit 3:22 p.m. And that blew my mind. And that's just like what Tommy was showing with this 128. It's just this pattern that happens over and over again. Like Charles Manson was released from prison or something like that on March 22nd. And that's when this event just happened in Russia. Yeah.
Well, you have the Georgia Guidestones, right, which said to get the population down to 500 million in perpetual harmony with nature. That was built on March 22nd, 322. Then we had the first Code Red. I'm going to call it Code Red, what you're talking about with why people were on lockdown. So that originally happened in Wuhan on November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. And 322, if you look at like Genesis 322, it talks about them becoming like gods and living forever. You know, it's clearly talking about transhumanism, which is heavily tied in to what I believe is really in them. You know, the black goo, the programmable matter, third strand DNA. I don't know if you know anything about that, Jay.
I mean, I've heard a lot of the theories about what the black goo is and all this kind of stuff. I'm pretty skeptical of it. I haven't seen any. I mean, I know it's in a lot of pop culture stuff, and we've talked about it as what it might symbolize. It might symbolize, you know, the satanic, or usually people are getting baptized in it, like in that Doja Cat video. You know, in the X-Files story, the black goo is like, you know, part of the alien psyop to take over.
Yeah.
So, and I know that, you know, Gil Bates just talked about the self-assembling nanotech recently. I'm sure you guys probably saw that.
Yes, sir.
So that
Well,
could be what that is.
They try to say it's connected to aliens. That's all BS. That's the lie. That's a psyop. What it is, it's programmable matter. It's technology. You know what I mean? That's
do you think it's like nanotech, basically?
Yeah. It's nanotech. It's not connected to no alien.
Did you see Gil Bates talking about that? He said that we've got self-assembling nanotech.
I didn't see
that. Yeah. Alex shared that clip the other day. He recently said this, which is interesting because people were saying, "Oh, it's not really that." And then he finally said it in an interview.
Oh, it is that, and that's why you'll have so many people hate on that and try to say that it's something to do with aliens,
right?
But it's not. It's some type. I believe it's some type of storehouse too, like a actual storehouse for some type of a demonic or archonic consciousness, maybe. You know, allowing that entity to kind of use the human as an avatar.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think if it is that and it takes over an individual or something like that, then it would definitely be like so that the hive mind could control you. I mean, yes. Jacques Attali, we mentioned earlier, he says that, and I think Kurzweil says this too in his books. He says that when we get the tech advanced enough, then the nanotech would basically be able to like override your sense data, and you could be controlled. And Attali says you would be hooked into the global brain, and it could control you. You know what movie that makes me think of? There's a really cool movie with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. It's called Cell.
Oh yeah, dude.
Everybody's being controlled by the signals, right?
Yep, dude. That movie it's all about that. And at the end, remember, they're all walking, circling around.
Yeah, it's a big hive mind, exactly.
Yep. It's
all that. I love that movie. Bro. I also checked out a movie you recommended by your There Will Be Blood breakdown, which was one of my favorite films. But I didn't know he also made a bunch of other great films. And I checked out The Master.
The Scientology-ish movie.
Loved it. It was great. It was awesome.
It's really good.
That I highly recommend that.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman's basically playing like L. Ron Hubbard, who had gone through the ranks of the Crowley cult to start his own cult. So yeah, I forgot about The Master. That's a good
L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, yeah, I know his grandson, Zachariah Hubbard.
So L. Ron Hubbard and Tony Robbins, I was matching their books together, and they look so similar. The Ultimate Power book and the Dianetics, it's like the same font. It just looked very similar. And
you mean like he copied the cover? That's fascinating.
It looked like it because that's kind of where he's stemming from.
Yeah,
I believe.
Exactly.
And doesn't he have his own cult in like Fiji where they call him like some weird name?
They do. In fact, I went on a date with a girl before I met my wife, and she had gone to his Fiji thing, and like they make you walk on coals and do all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be too scared of that, walking on coals. No,
I would do it.
I know you would. You would definitely do it. Not me. I might take some ayahuasca and just chill in a corner somewhere. But I ain't walking on no damn coal. I'd end up getting burnt, you know. But yeah, for a lot of people in the comments, Jay also does stuff over on Band.video with Alex Jones. So I've seen some people ask where you were from and stuff like that. You have your own channel on YouTube as well. All Jay's links are down in the description. He has a rock fin, his own website. You have an event coming up pretty soon too, don't you, Jay?
Yeah, Doenut will be there. We'll be in Vegas June 22nd with my buddy Jim Bob that you mentioned. He's gonna come in and do some comedy and do a little bit of talking. Since Jamie had to cancel, we're gonna have my buddy Isaac Weishaupt, Illuminati Watcher, will be there. My wife will be there. So Jamie, my wife, does a talk on occultism and witchcraft and film, Wicca, and all that kind of stuff. I'll be talking about geopolitics, espionage, and the hot button topic of sexpionage. So that will be part of what I discuss. And then Isaac will be doing a big breakdown of Eyes Wide Shut. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have books and all that. It's kind of an epic infotainment 6-hour event. So you can get the tickets on my Twitter.
Oh, that's what's up, guys. Yeah. So if you're in Las Vegas for that time, go check it out. Definitely.
702. That's where I'm from. So I'm really excited to go to that event to learn. I missed out on the California one, but I'll get to make it up for this one. I'm very excited. And will you have your books for sale as well?
Yeah, we'll have all that. Will be there. Yeah. Book signing and all that. Yeah. You missed the LA one. Was a lot of fun, man. I wish you'd been there. It was great. Jamie's really funny. He's really funny in person. I know he won't be at this, but
he's hilarious. Yeah. He's just a household name out at my house. So
sexpionage, what is that? Could you elaborate on that a little?
Well, I thought I had made this term up, but turns out somebody sent me an article of British writers like in the 1960s. They were already using this term, but basically just sex espionage combined together. So I've been reading a bunch of books on this topic lately because it's a really important area of how we're controlled, that people overlook, basically just sexual compromise, and that different intelligence agencies, for example, they'll use cults, sex cults, they'll get dirt, right? I mean, Whitney Webb's book on Jeff Stein, McCaffrey, that kind of operation. This is just another book I happen to have from a long time ago. That's just the history of this going all the way back to not really the ancient world, but like the last 300 or 400 years. So CIA operations, British intelligence, Soviets. The Soviets are really adept and really into compromising people with this stuff. So it's just a fascinating side of this that a lot of people don't know about, but it's really important for how governments, dynasties, wars, all these things have really been won, lost, or determined on the basis of people being SCX compromised.
Right.
A lot of whorehouses, actually.
Yeah.
They're actually like spy networks. People don't know that.
Well, with the mirror and all that.
Yeah. Or they just like talk them up, and then the soldiers divulge information, and it gets back to the enemy camp. So
pillow talk.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Churchill used hose. The Japanese Japanese actually beat the Chinese through one dude named Kinji Doihara, who was a Japanese general who was pimping out his sister, who happened to be a hottie. And they actually beat the Russians in the Russo-Japanese War just from the intel from the hose.
Wow. Well, did you see the Napoleon movie at all?
No, I can't. Everything that Ridley Scott makes lately has sucked, so I just skipped it.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
You would have probably liked it, Jay. It wasn't that bad, but
Did you get to watch the Licorice Pizza film by the same guy who made There Will Be Blood?
No, that's the one. I liked a lot of his movies, but that's the one I haven't seen yet. I've seen all of his other movies, but I haven't seen that one.
I watched it. I liked it. It was very hard for me to like just hit the play button because I'm like, this looks so whack.
It sounds dumb, yeah.
It sounds dumb. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
There's a new one out right now, guys, that both of you would love. It's on Apple TV, and hold on, let me pull up the name of it. It's all about like different realities. It's kind of pretty much CERN, and they developed this black cube, this giant black cube, that when you go inside of it, it allows you to go to a different world. Kind of, there's thousands of different variations of this same world in it, and the guy kind of kidnapped himself and sent himself back because he wanted to exist in the world where he took a different path, and he had a family and had kids. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. It just came out, but it's all about CERN. I think it's called Dark Matter. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I'm gonna write it down.
Dark Matter. Yeah, that is what it is. Dark Matter.
Okay.
It's really good. It's on anything Apple TV's putting out is amazing. And we know Dark Matter is what they say they was looking for with CERN, right? So it's a series on Apple TV, and it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay. I would love to see you do a breakdown on that one, Jay. It's really trending right now. A lot of people are talking about it. The first 3 episodes are out. And Doenut, you haven't seen this yet, bro? Dark Matter?
No, I haven't, but I know that's Cat Williams, Dark Matter. Like that word is like all over the place. But I had a question for Jay. It's a kind of my own theory about Leary that I've been playing around with in my head. Jordan Peterson, he went to Russia, and because I've been following him since like the beginning of his career. I even saw him live speak in Phoenix a long time ago, and it was pretty incredible. And just his whole career has been sort of interesting where he went to Russia. Like, why did he go there? That's kind of weird. Before this whole thing popped off. And then he came back crying all the time. And he went to he was like, I believe the head of the same department that Timothy Leary was the head department for in Harvard. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Timothy Leary moved the entire culture to drop out and tune out, right? And Jordan Peterson's really moving the whole culture to follow the rules, in a sense, right? Rules for life. I'm just throwing stuff out in my head, and something I'm looking at. Do you think that when he went to Russia, there could have been some sort of compromise? I think it was Dostoevsky who had the false imprisonment and the false execution. I don't know if it was him, but
no, it was him. You're right.
And Jordan Peterson always talks about him as well. I just don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I know the person that helped arrange that. I bet I don't know a lot of the details as to exactly what was going on, but I don't really have any reason to think of it anything other than that he had that period of addiction to some, I forget what he was taking. I don't remember what pharmaceutical it was. So I think that he really was going there seeking some kind of counseling or something for whatever addiction he had. And
probably why he got all emotional.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know a lot of details about it, but I do know somebody that helps sort of organize that. But yeah, beyond that, I don't really know the details.
Yeah, you know about the Saturn symbolism with the cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this dark matter, this is the box that they get into, bro, and it's straight Saturn. I mean, they jump in this big giant cube. And that's what allows them to travel throughout these multiverses.
Yeah, that makes sense because the cube kind of relates to to time and space, right? So a cube is all 6 directions. That's the only possible directions to go within, space as we know it. So you can either go up, down, left, right, back, forward. That encompasses. That's a box. So I think that that's a classic kind of geometric structure that encapsulates, 4D reality, 3D, 4D reality that we inhabit. And then time is usually added to that. And so it's kind of like the limitations of our dimension or of our reality are encapsulated and symbolized by the cube.
Yeah,
So it would make sense that you walk inside of a cube to kind of like, operate as a doorway to other dimension or other realities in this dimension.
and then they stab you with something, a shot. So you get a shot when you go in there, go figure. You go in the black cube, you get a shot, you start to fall out, and next thing you know, you wake up in these other realities. I mean, that's at least what they've showed us so far on episode 3, But of course, they got the shots.
I haven't seen anything about it, so it's brand new to me. Did you ever watch Fringe? Is it kind of like Fringe?
A little bit like that. Fringe was awesome, though. Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's got some elements of that to it. I don't think a lot of people know what it is yet because it just came out. But I think within the next couple weeks it'll be huge because it's really good, man. I'm pretty good.
Did you guys watch Severance? It was kind of an MK Ultra mind control Apple show.
That was great. Yeah.
Severance had the black goo, the programmable matter within it too. And they're supposed to be coming out with a new season of that. And in Severance, they kind of gave them that brain chip that they would remember work, but when they left, they had
it would split you so that you had a divided consciousness as to the different person in work versus the outside work. Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, right?
But we started getting the impression that more was going on than just that, right? Like maybe they're an experiment or something like that.
Now, speaking of Ben Stiller, because he's the director of that show, he has one of the greatest MK Ultra movies, I think, Zoolander.
Oh, Zoolander is a classic, yeah. We just recently reviewed some of the classic MK movies, and we had to throw that one in there because it was like there's more in there than you would expect. And
remember the Prime Minister of Malaysia? That's who was, and then just in the news yesterday,
correct.
The Prime Minister. I haven't really looked too much into that.
Speaking of, Ben Stiller also played a CIA guy in that Walter Mitty movie. So you'll notice a lot of times people kind of play multiple, like people that are into intelligence stuff in reality will also be playing a lot of these roles. Now, I don't know if Ben Stiller is into that reality. It's just something that popped into my head because like in the case of Jennifer Lawrence, for example, we were talking about spy stuff. She was in probably one of the most famous recent SEX spy movies, Red Sparrow, and she's a mind controlled sex kitten for the NKVD, and then they try to bring her over to America at the end or whatever. It's kind of silly, but she's also going to be playing, same actress is going to be playing another movie of one of the most famous SEX operatives. Her name is Cynthia or Elizabeth Pack, and she was handled by William Stevenson, who helped to set up the OSS with Wild Bill Donovan. And so if you look up this woman, she was being pimped out by the CIA and British intelligence. And so Jennifer Lawrence is going to be playing this woman as well. So that's two, super SEX operative. And, remember when it came out, the fappening, when all the images came out of Jennifer Lawrence? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
She supposedly had been sleeping with, various Hollywood personages. So again, I don't know if she's a sex kitten, but
that's the Hunger Games chick, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that when that happened. It was like 2012.
You know who another big one is? Hole. Hole. It was Nirvana's girl. Hole.
Oh, yeah. I just went blank. Courtney Love.
Yes, man. She was like they had her over in Ireland doing it, all kinds of places. I read a whole book on her, and she was.
Oh, you mean like they sent her around like to sleep with people, or what do you mean?
So compromising people, and she was like a big part in bringing out LSD in certain locations, like all kinds of stuff. She played a big role and bringing the heroin too into Seattle and all that. So she had a CIA handler. Yeah, there's a book on her.
That makes sense. Well, they put out a pretty good documentary, pointing out that she might have been involved in the Kurt scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you got. I'm sorry, Tommy.
Go ahead, bud.
Oh no, I'm just thinking of like Ben Affleck and all that. Did you see the new? I liked it a lot. Mr. and Miss Smith TV show with the. It's pretty good. I liked it.
No, but I did watch the new Mission Impossible where Tom Cruise. It's all like a Gnostic myth. I don't know if you saw that. Where it's like basically AI. What was it called? Mission Impossible. I've already forgot the title of it.
Oh, yeah. It was really good.
I did a whole breakdown of that. It was all about like AI becoming, basically running everything. And it was like predictive algorithms where the AI would try to tell you and predict like what was going to happen and where the next big event was going to happen. And it started like telling people who to kill and pretty. It was a little exaggerated.
To get it for America, but then he was like, "Oh no, this is too dangerous. No one can have this." Right? So he had to kind of destroy it. And Jay, they probably already got some stuff like that running this reality, bro. They're always like 50 years ahead of anything they let us know.
Yeah, I mean, if that does exist to that degree, and if the nanotech can be linked into it, we're looking at like end times type stuff, right?
That's scary.
We get to that point.
That's real scary, right there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What's your favorite 007 film? Just since we're on the topic.
I like different ones for different reasons. Like I was in high school when all the Pierce Brosnan 90s ones were out. So that was a lot of fun. Like when we were in high school, we enjoyed going to see James Bond movies. So that was a fun time. Those are really goofy in a 90s way. But I mean, just as movies, I think most of the Daniel Craig ones are pretty good. And they're pretty revelatory for, like the Nine Eyes Intelligence Network. That was really what influenced the Spectre movie with Christoph Waltz as Blofeld. That one was really good. So probably Spectre or Skyfall's pretty good, but it's more of an action movie. Maybe Spectre is my favorite of the Daniel Craigs, but overall, I'd probably say, all of the Pierce Brosnan ones are probably my favorites. I like the old ones with Sean Connery too, but they're all very, very revelatory though.
Yeah, they're dope. Just I love the Octo P one. That one's my favorite.
That one's great. Yeah, it's a classic.
I remember there was a 2012 and I was just like YouTubing how to like get a girlfriend kind of stuff, and it was like watch James Bond films, and so I know what you're talking about. I remember one of the Return of Kings or one of the Red Pill sites was actually saying that. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, 2012 was a wild year. Fukushima, Alex was on YouTube.
Wow. Yeah.
It was a wild. That was a wild.
Alex Jones was still on YouTube in 2012.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, 2011 was like the year that year was crazy, man. All the crazy stuff that happened in 2011, and it seems like that year changed things up a lot. That was the year we had the Arab Spring, right? All that stuff.
That sounds right. Yeah. That was a really crucial, like 2011, 12, and then 2015, 16 with Bruce Jenner.
Oh,
that was a big pivotal, and Trump.
Jade Helm.
Yep. And Jordan Peterson was rolling out right around then, getting popular. So yeah, that was some crazy times right there. Those are pivotal times, I think.
Pivotal, yeah. So Jay, what's your opinion on Trump? good, bad.
I mean, he's definitely better than Biden, but I mean, I think I have
mean,
some big criticisms of like, warp speed, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too, man.
But I mean, I think Biden is basically destroying the country. So
I
don't want the country destroyed. So it's like, I definitely would prefer Trump over Biden for sure. But, but I mean, I think Trump's also made some big mistakes, have some big criticisms. So, but yeah, we definitely don't want more Joe Biden.
Well, no, even if Joe Biden, like, dude, is he even real? I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, can you blame people for saying it's like deep fake or, you know what I mean, or a body double?
Is he even real? The
Yeah.
dude might have died in his basement 10 years ago, and they're giving us some freaking hologram. Who knows?
Yeah, or some guy in a mask, or like, it could be anything. The masks that people can wear are pretty sophisticated. So
Yes.
I remember I met with somebody one time who was worked with Madonna, and this was a few years ago before Madonna looked really crazy with all the plastic surgery, and people were wondering, well, how does she still look like kind of young, even though she's, like 3 or 4 years ago she was grandma age still. And it turns out she puts on this really sophisticated weird mask that makes her look young. So that's could also be done by politicians and political, So it doesn't. I'm not saying that I know that that's what's going on with it. I'm just saying that can be done too. Like, people think, how are these Hollywood people looking so young? Well, they actually have really sophisticated masks they can wear.
Yeah, I look weird in real life. Like, I get myself looking nice with the lighting, but real life, I look weird. I feel like
you're like 70 and you're like a grandpa.
Pretty much,
but you're wearing a sophisticated Madonna mask right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, they think they've came up with so many different theories about, like, I mean, when I was still going on camera, they had all kinds of crazy theories about me. And then when I quit going on camera, it was because I got cloned, and they come up with some craziest shit, man. And it wasn't until I started doing this myself that I realized, okay, maybe not all these conspiracies are real, because I see how people, how they do it, and it's crazy, man. But you got to do it for yourself to realize that. They'll just say, "Oh, you've been compromised now. You're compromised."
Yeah.
Out. It's like, wow.
What's that Ring of Skulls? I haven't seen that. Does it show it what it is?
Oh, so yeah, the Ring of Skulls. I got it kind of down here. The John D painting. This one.
Yeah.
And when you put an X-ray over it, it shows these skulls.
Oh, weird.
So yeah, so that was some steganography.
Yeah.
That was used, so it's like this hidden occult stuff that's within these paintings. So it'd be interesting to see if someone X-rays. Yeah, if someone X-rays this. Yeah.
I wonder what his reason was for getting that painting. Like, I mean, he used so much red in it. It's crazy.
Well,
what are the paintings of this guy who did David Attenborough and Tony Blair? Are those weird or are they normal?
Pull up his other paintings, Doenut. Let's take a look at them.
Okay. Here, I'm just gonna stop my screen and pull it up for a second. What do I look up? What's his name? I forget.
Hold on, I got it right here. Let me look at the slide. Because I found it from you, Jonathan
Yeo. Okay.
Jonathan
Yeo portraits. Yeah, it's let me see if I can find. All right.
And shout out to everybody that made my video go viral. The Doja Cat video is now at 1.2 million views because of you guys. So thank you for that. We appreciate y'all. Hit them likes. We got 500 people in here.
So I got his portraits pulled up.
Huh.
Who would you like me to look up?
Oh, so he did Tony Blair and David Attenborough, and they're both establishment, goons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he's done a lot of them.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
Look at this. I mean, not really. His kind of is different than the other ones. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good point. What is that? That looks weird. The bedroom.
That is very weird.
Let's see.
It's kind of creeper. That's a creeper looking thing there.
Yeah. Is that a gentleman?
Yeah, definitely a gentleman. Yeah.
That's a guy and a girl's. What the heck?
Well,
Yeah,
it looks like that.
I'm pretty sure it is 100%.
Who is that?
Look at the hand.
Grayson Peary.
What?
It's Grayson Peary.
Click on that.
Do we know who he is?
I have no idea. Grayson Peary writes about Channel 4. I think I have no idea.
You can tell by the hands. They can't get past me with them hands. Ain't happening. Well, you know,
this is a famous, apparently a TRANZ.
Oh.
But he is also a Royal Institute for British Affairs elitist.
Oh.
Member of the Order of British Empire. That's unbelievable. Wow.
I mean, yeah, they should be proud of this. This is what they have. They are now. You know, it's
exactly.
I mean, it's unreal. You got Vlad the Impaler and this guy kicking it together. You know, I mean, well, they should do a painting together. You could have this dude on a stripper pole for Vlad the King. They'll be killing his character off pretty soon. Who's that? Jonathan Yo.
Cara Delevingne.
I don't know who that is.
She's a model, supermodel, and actress, Cara Delevingne.
There's another weird painter that Paranoid American told me about. I can't remember her name, but she paints all them spiders. Oh, man. If I said her name, I bet you would know it. She painted a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmer pictures with the contorted. What was that lady's name? Oh, it's driving me nuts. They said she was involved in some of the whole, human trafficking situation that was taking place. I don't know if that was true, but.
Does this artist have any odd things about him? Have you looked at him?
Message Paranoid American.
Just that he's painted all the elites.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not too much. Not too much. Crazy stuff.
I'm asking him what this lady.
Yeah, these elite artists are really, really creepy. There's a bunch of these too. You should look up that Herman Nitsch guy. Look up Damien Hirst, H.R. Giger. I mean, all that stuff's super dark.
Right, H.R. Yeah, he's the whole aliens thing. Yeah, it's nuts. I'm gonna look into that.
Dahmer. Okay, let me see what he says. I'm about to try to find her myself. Painter.
You're talking about the Podesta paintings?
No. I know Jay will know her too if I can find her.
You're saying it's a female painter who paints what now? Spiders?
She does a lot of spiders, but she's really famous for that. But she also has connections to Jeffrey Dahmer. She did some of his. Hold on a second. I mean, I just texted Paranoid. I know he'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
And she's a world-renowned, famous.
Yeah, all the elites are super into this lady. What the hell is her name? She really looks. No, it's not that one. Oh, I cannot believe I can't remember her name. That drives me nuts.
How is she related to Dahmer? In what way?
She did some paintings that was in that contortion. You know how he had that one victim that was bent backwards?
Yeah.
Like the Podesta.
Yeah, I
statue.
understand the weird bent back pose and everything.
Yeah, so she did
Okay.
I guess that was all linked to her. It was based on her work. That's where Dahmer.
So Dahmer liked this woman's style or something?
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, she was around. Her paintings were older than Dahmer. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And then there was like all these crazy conspiracies about Dahmer, like that he was part of an actual satanic cult. And
I did a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, bro. And did you know, like every time he was killing people, he made them watch.
Okay.
Exorcist, right?
Yep. So there was
Exorcist too. Yeah.
some demonic possession going on there for
He
sure.
was he built all. Have you seen the altar he tried to build?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dahmer designed an altar. If you look,
That's her. Yes, Louise Bourget. There you go, Doenut. This lady right here, bro, is all the elites are fascinated with her. How'd you find her, Doenut?
Betty in the comments. Shout out to Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
But yeah, did Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh, she did that big spider. I know what you're talking about now. That okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. She did tons of spiders, and then the archons are depicted as.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, so yeah, so there you go. I had not seen this from her. Interesting.
Yep. So I'm wondering, like, is there a connection to the whole archons with the spiders and all that? Because the elites depicted in a lot of their symbolism, and if you read some of the Gnostic text, yeah, bro, she's into some weird stuff. This lady, dude.
Yeah, you know who else is like her stuff too? Man Ray was a Luciferian, and he's connected to the Elizabeth Smaht Black Dahlia stuff. Because he was doing art of like cut up women in the pose of what looks very similar to how her body was found when it was ritually cut up.
Oh, the Black Dahlia murder. That was 1947.
He died on 3/22 as well.
Man Ray.
Yeah, he's got some really crazy dark art.
Black Dahlia happened 1947, right?
Sounds right.
So what's interesting with that is, you know, before that, it was like America, we were in a golden age at that time. And then 1946, you have Jack Parsons doing that Babylon workings experiment. It seems like he opened something up.
And 1947, you get the National Security Act, which creates the CIA, or 42, it creates OSS, and then 47 is the CIA.
Yes. And then, then you have the Black Dahlia thing happen, all this, the crime spike. And you see 1947, that's the year Crowley dies, 116 days after Roswell, I believe, to be exact. Or it was 116 days after the Babylon workings or Roswell when Crowley died. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think they opened something up, bro. I think they opened some type of portal and let some type of demonic entities in. Because then right after that, that's when all the aliens allegedly started showing up. Remember, Jay?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a hot time for PsyOps. And the idea, I think, is that the government definitely aligned itself with, something pretty satanic. I mean, I don't believe in aliens, but they seem to go down the path of more and more demonic stuff for sure.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. In that American Horror Story, I don't know if you guys ever watched, I think it's season 11. They're kind of reenacting all them events that took place with Roswell and Eisenhower meeting with these aliens. And he makes a deal with the aliens. And there was this one general in American Horror Story. He stands up and he says, "These are not aliens, they're demons or something" at the table. And that freaking alien came in and just fried him, like exploded him in the thing. Definitely something was going on that year. I don't really believe in aliens myself either. I think they're either one of two things: the archons or demonic possession. Either way, Alex did a video before on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how the elites were microdosing with DMT, and then he said they used so much of the DMT they actually had to start stopping their hearts, and they would go into these meetings with these machine type elves, and they were coming out with technology that actually worked. Did you ever see that interview with Alex?
Yeah, I mean that's John C. Lilly in his autobiography claims that.
So
John C. Lilly, the Illuminati dolphin guy, Tommy.
So what? Yeah. What are these entities that they're messing with? You think, Jay?
I think it's demonic. Like I think they're demons.
No. Me too, bro. And they don't care. Like if they feel like they can get technology from a demon, they'll get it.
Well, that and it's like if you listen to like if you do an experiment, go through watch like 20 or 30 videos on YouTube of people who do DMT or who talk to the elves, the machine elves. It's always pretty much kind of the same message. And the reason people believe that they're good is like, oh well, I felt really good, I felt warmth and peace. And it's like, well, you could be being deceived. Because the message is always just create a global government, depopulate, and we'll help solve humanity's problems. That's always the kind of
It is. I've done DMT. I've had bad experiences and good. But one time I did some ayahuasca when I was real young, and I went to hell, dude. I mean, I've literally seen demonic shit. It was the scariest thing I ever experienced.
Did it look like you've seen Alex Gray's art, right?
The what?
Alex Gray, his art. Everybody always. I only did LSD. I never did the other ones. So,
okay.
But everybody says like ayahuasca or some of the even DMT, like that. It looks like Alex Gray's art. Was that what you experienced?
Do you have his art pulled up, Doenut?
Yeah, it's like on Tool.
Yeah, it's got some similarities to that DMT realm. I kept seeing this little guy that kind of reminded me of a jester that in the whole time I didn't know how to take that dude either. I felt not a good vibe from him. Even when I had the good experience the one time, I still felt like them entities in there. I don't think we're supposed to be messing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's I had one bad trip and I had a interaction like that, and I felt like afterwards like this wasn't a good thing.
No, yeah.
What I was interacting with, it was a point of light that was communicating, but it was like this is not a good thing.
Well, God willing, I'll have 9 years sober tomorrow. So
congratulations.
And Tommy and I were talking about something that I think is super crazy to just kind of think about. With being in addiction to sobriety, and sobriety is what brought me to believe in God again when I was wasn't believing in God. It really, because I had these spiritual experiences to stay away from, and I did do these trips like with the psilocybin, and I had a bad experience, but I did it a bunch of times, but this one time was so bad that I gave up all this I don't know what to call it, like prescription stuff, but I wasn't prescribed. And Tommy and I were talking because this was around when Obama was in office or running, right? The streets were flooded with Oxycontin and stuff like that. That was flooding the streets. And I just stopped all of that stuff. I got this 20 years ago or something. I don't know how long ago that was, but 2005, 6. But then after stopping that, that's kind of when I got into watching the Obama deception and stuff like that, and looking into stuff. But before that, I was into the deception. So I'm sure there's some correlation with Brave New World, Soma. I've been really thinking about it. Like Soma is pretty much you got to go somewhere for that. But then if you don't go there, the counterculture will provide the Soma through the Timothy Leary's in the rap culture or rock culture. Yeah. I don't know. I'm
No.
No,
not.
there is something to it, Donut. I had the same experience and then when I quit like partying all the time, I was doing ecstasy every day, you know, as a young knucklehead kid. And when I quit doing it, that's when I started waking up to things and realizing my first thing that like hit me full force was 9/11. I was in New York in Brooklyn when it happened, and it was my senior year, and I just like I was in the school, watched it happen. This is a true story. I got up out of school and walked out. I said, I quit. You know, first of all, I was going back after doing I had done juvenile life. I was in a juvenile facility. So I was going back and all my friends had already graduated. They had been 2 years out. So I was like 2 years behind and with all these young kids. And then the planes hit the towers and I just that blew my mind, and I said, I'm out of here. This shit ain't gonna work for me. But you know, I'm glad I did it because I've built a very successful business. But at that time, even then, Jay, when we lived in New York, bro, like there was a lot of people that didn't believe the mainstream narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that people reported hearing bombs blow up and I don't know no one personally that's seen a damn plane. I don't know what they used. They probably did, maybe they did use a plane. I don't know, but so the people think they used holograms, and there's all kinds of different stuff. The one thing I will point out that's very crazy is 1968, right? 1968, they coined the word coronavirus. They made 9/11 the emergency dialing code that year. George Bush graduated Skull and Crossbones that year. It's the same year the Hong Kong flu came out. 33 years later, they started building the World Trade Center that year as well. 33 years later, George Bush, who graduated Skull and Bones in 68, is now the president, and they brought the towers to the ground that they started building 33 years prior. So it's kind of weird. And that was the year we allegedly rotated the moon too. Remember, we went around the moon. They said 1968.
Did you? Yeah. Have y'all? Do you remember that Tom Clancy book that came out that talked about the virus coming out of the Wuhan lab?
Right. Yes.
And that came out what in the 80s or 90s? That was pretty crazy.
Dean Koontz.
I'm sorry, Dean Koontz. You're right, not Tom Clancy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that book, it talks about it goes away for 10 years, Jay, and then it comes back, and it comes back even harder. Yeah. So we're due. We're getting due.
Right. Hey, Doenut, did you have any crazy experiences on psilocybin where you felt like you were interacting with any machine elves or entities or anything?
I'm happy you asked. Because I did the first try of it when I was a kid. I was 14 and I loved it. I went to the park with all my friends, snuck out of a house, looked at the moon, and the moon looked like a skull. And then I went to the Strip in Las Vegas, and I remember I was listening to Yellow Submarine. I mean, talk about social engineering. I'm listening to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD, driving to the Strip. I think I was 15 or 14, and it started kicking in, and then I saw this mentally challenged like kid, and we were playing pool, and it just like freaked me out, and I was just like, and I just kept doing it, but not all the time. I just did it like once a year or something like that. And then the last time I did it, I was in Sedona, and I was just learning about Sedona is like such a woo-woo-y place.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that.
I wasn't into the woo-woo-y stuff. I wanted to be like a gangster mafia. Like I wanted like the boats and hoes. And I'm learning about raw foods and Tai Chi and Buddhism and and then it kicks in, and then I swear I was like saw my life in past lives, like I was like some pharaoh or something. I'm just like what? And it freaked me out. It was a bad trip.
There's an energy vortex there, though, bro.
Yeah,
Your mind
I saw like lizards on the rocks, but to answer the question, I'll just make a long story. I didn't see anything like that, but Robert Anton Wilson's books kind of break down how each of these certain drugs you will see a certain creature, like the peyote, you'll see a green dancing man, or the machine elves with the DMT. So there's entities connected to different things.
Y'all heard about the Benadryl? People seeing the Hat Man.
Oh, so yeah, tell me about that, because I get allergies. And so
well,
they overdose on it, right?
Yeah, somebody had this. Yeah, exactly. Like a really dumb idea to take
stupid idea,
like really high levels of Benadryl and see what happens. And there's a bunch of videos of people breaking down doing that. I would never.
Chlorocidin is what they started it with, Jay. They were taking chlorocidin, the cold medicine, and then it like merged into the whole Benadryl thing.
So the people that take the really crazy dumb doses are saying that they see the Hat Man, and it's like a recurring thing of people reporting seeing this. So it's almost like certain chemicals link to or open up the portal for these certain entities, it seems like.
Wow.
Like
I gotta make a video.
Look up the Hat Man with the Benadryl stuff.
That's wild. I've got to make I think that's gonna be my next video breakdown. I think that's so tight, like to like learn about. I didn't know, like, because I never thought about these over like Corseidin, like he's talking about the triple C's is what they used to call it in Vegas.
Well, the same. It's the same element that's in the Benadryl. It's that I can't pronounce it.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
It's the sleeping aid that's making same thing that's in NyQuil. That's what's making them tweak out.
But it's interesting that people would see the same entity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nuts. The only thing I take now, Jay, is edibles. I eat some edibles, bro, and that's it. Mine are all holistical, handmade, homemade edibles. You know, I don't mess with nothing else, bro. I don't even really smoke no more. Just edibles.
There's a ton of shit on the Hat Man though. Like all this and all these people who have done this, which is really stupid to take this high level because you can die.
What's he supposed to be, the Hat Man?
Well, some people think that it's like a angel of death or something. You know what I mean? Like he's showing up because like you're about to die. Like,
could be.
Right.
Have you ever watched the Dark Tower, Jay, by Stephen King's The Dark Tower?
I read the first one. I really enjoyed the first one, and I got halfway through the second one. So it makes me think of that. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I think of too. And Doenut just watched it. We were going to do a podcast on it with my boy B. Dale, but he ended up having something to do. But in that Dark Tower, the Dark Tower was like holding up all the realities and protecting them from these demonic entities that were trying to get in and take over. And they were called the Men in Black, right?
Exactly.
And it's just you kind of wonder, like, where do these producers and these writers come up with these ideas? I think they're all tapped into something, you know, or I mean, a lot of them, if you read their own work, they tell you, like the owner of Google, they microdose. They've all been in contact with these things called the Ancient Ones. Like, what the hell is that, dude?
Exactly.
What the hell is that?
Did you all watch that Nick Cage movie based on the Lovecraft story, Color Out of Space?
No, but let me break that down because I'm a huge fan.
And the movie version, they included like Crowley and stuff, where the daughter's reading Crowley books and she's into Wicca and she invokes, I think she's trying to invoke like, you know, the goddess or Babylon or something, and then she accidentally invokes like the Ancient Ones from the Lovecraftian universe.
You don't want them.
Yeah, one of our friends actually interviewed Nick Cage's son and was talking about
the metalhead dude, the metal dude.
Yeah.
Oh, really? What did he say?
It was Juan, this guy One-on-One podcast, and he covers all the occult and alchemy, and he was saying just like that their family knows about that stuff.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few interviews where Nick Cage will kind of, in passing, he'll say, that he. I mean, a long time ago, I remember him saying on an interview, I think with Jay Leno or somebody, he's like talking about reading a lot of Neoplatonic texts, and he's really into the Hermetica and all kinds of crazy stuff. I was like, wow, that was like 15 years ago where he was saying that.
Juan's on tomorrow, Doenut. Me and Juan.
I know that you like this movie, Jay. I remember a long time ago you talking about it, and I know it freaked me out. I was like freaked out by it, but I did enjoy one of his most recent films where he's in everyone's dream. I'm not sure if you saw it.
Yeah. That's on my to watch list. I haven't watched it yet.
It was pretty good. That one as well was pretty good.
What's it called?
I don't remember, but he's in everybody's dream, and it was good.
Okay, so I'm over here on one, and I see a bunch of conspiracy stuff.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
What's the Nick Cage? What's his son's name? I forget his name.
I forget. I'll find it though.
You would like Juan though, Jay. I bet you guys would have a cool conversation. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yes.
He's a good interview too.
He goes over the homunculus.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Okay, so it's right here. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
He's real big on like alchemy, but he could get into John D with you, Enochian magic, all that stuff.
Yeah. I'll send it in the private chat.
Wish I could find that old interview where Nicolas Cage is talking about occult stuff.
Yeah, they take all the good stuff off the internet now.
Yeah.
It's like they got the AI wiping it out. I've noticed that too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How could you like wipe out all this shit, right? Like, I mean,
it's the AI doing it.
It's got to be AI, yeah.
Yeah, the 100% because I know how it works. I use it a lot, so I know what they're doing. And you notice like anything you go to search for now, it's all gone. And the best,
yeah,
dude, the best psyop that they pulled was the whole Q thing. They weaponized all them hashtags. So then anybody that was sharing that stuff, and I'm not going to say it out loud because they're still using that as algorithmic wipeouts, but you would share certain hashtags that was part of that movement. Mm-hmm. And then it knew exactly who you were. So they were actually brilliant how they did it. They promoted it for like 2020, 2019. Anybody sharing any information on that was going viral. And then boom, 2021 comes and they just shut everybody down. Anybody that was talking about it got shut down. You know what I mean? It was an algorithmic wipeout. But you never really bought into that anyways. Did you, Jay?
No, I made anti-QAnon videos right away. I mean, I think when they were talking about, I did. I mean, my videos I think are still up. I had to like retitle them though because they were going to get pulled down from because like they don't care whether if you're talking about it, you're automatically like classed in. But my critique videos went up pretty quick. I mean, I think that. So if you remember, it started with.
That's why I respected you back then because you wasn't one of the ones pushing it. And I knew anyone that was pushing that, I'm like, I can't trust you. You know what I mean?
Well, you remember it started with PIZZA gate.
Yep.
So, and I think there was some things going on there that were sus at that place.
Oh, me too. I think.
And then, but the Q crap, like it went wild soon after that.
Yeah, no, I think, look, I think the Q situation, they were taking real stuff and then, manipulating. I think there was a lot of real information attached to it, but it was weaponized. It was being used to censor all that stuff. And right after they shut it down and wiped out all them people, then everybody on Facebook started noticing when they were commenting in the comments, now it didn't just say their name in a chat. It would give like their phone number, their email. Ask the people in the comments right here. I guarantee a bunch of them are seeing their email, their phone number, where it used to just show us our name. And that was right after the whole Q thing went down, which I think it was a quantum computer. The 2000 Q myself, I think it was used a quantum computer named Tyler to track, trace, and tag our asses.
Interesting.
That's my opinion on it, because I really believe they want it. Imagine if you were these type of people, these evil people, and you wanted to rule the whole world. Well, first thing you need to do is find out who's going to stand up against this new world order, this global tyranny, right? And who is anti what we like they like child trafficking and all this evil shit. Well, let's find out who's anti that. And with this movement, they did it. Mm-hmm. It was quite brilliant, actually, how they pulled that off. It's heavily encoded in the movie Fight Club, too. If you watch the movie Fight Club, you'll see some connections to it.
So I got this pulled up here, just something I've been looking at. And the Q thing you're talking about with the 128 in the beginning, their first post was on October 28th.
Just of course.
On top of that. But Eminem, going back to the painting, this painting was released at the same time Eminem's new album, where he says that he's dead in the Detroit papers, the death of Slim Shady, is being released, or it was 2 days before that, around the same time. But Eminem's opening up at the Super Bowls, singing the New World Order song on the way to the New World Order. Someone I'm looking at, but I guess he's the 33rd great grandfather was Welsh king, and I know that King Charles connected to the Welsh as well. And also with Eminem, Marshall Mathers, his mom said that he was related to Samuel Mathers.
Oh, wow.
Now, look, he was supposed to be a poor kid from Detroit from the trailer park, but right. He just so happens to have his 33rd grandpa a king. Come on, man.
Hey, Doenut, did you guys see my my breakdown of Through the Looking Glass?
That was a recent one that you did.
Yeah, and at the end of the book, he writes a poem. It's a Hebrew acrostic poem. I mean, it's not Hebrew, but it's based on the Hebrew style of poetry, where the beginning letter spells something, and it's Alice Liddell is who Alice is based on, and she's from the Samuel Liddell Mathers family.
Oh, the Order of the Golden Dawn. Well, yeah. See, that's connecting a bunch of.
So, in other words, Lewis Carroll was influenced by Golden Dawn stuff, and he chose the daughter from who's related to that family to make her the basis for Alice and Alice in Wonderland.
Wow!
Isn't that crazy? And he was a mathematician who was all into weird esoteric, occult math stuff. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me get the book.
Yeah, and yeah, that's deep.
I gotta show. Let me show Jay's channel real quick. Is that Through the Looking Glass one on your YouTube, Jay?
Yeah. On
this YouTube?
Yeah.
I gotta see that. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I went really deep into that. Look under. I think it's I can't remember if it's a live stream. So part 1 is a live stream.
Live.
Pretty recent. Let me see.
You got a bunch of new good stuff too.
Okay, it's about a month ago. Through the Looking Glass, Alice's Magic, Madness, and Metaphysics is my live stream.
Right here, Through the Looking Glass. Bam.
That's it. Now, but
I'll share that.
But I think the part that I'm getting into, what I'm talking about right here, I think that's in the part 2 for subscribers. But I'll just show you guys right here what I'm talking about. At the very end of the book, you can see where he has this poem, and the beginning letters spell out Alice Liddell, and she's from that family that Doenut's talking about from the Golden Dawn guy.
Oh, wow. That's
Wow.
amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That's kind of like the way you're talking about the Hebrew, how the letters, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's called a Hebrew acrostic, which is just the principle of, like, I think Proverbs 31 in the Hebrew Bible has that principle where the first letter of each line just spells something.
It
So
does. Yeah.
he's just borrowing that idea of doing a poem that way. And his last poem just spells out who the basis for Alice is. The real girl is Alice Liddell.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, and like it's all about the rabbit, right? Going down the rabbit hole with the Alice in Wonderland,
Well,
right?
that's part one. So the first book is Alice in Wonderland, but the second book that divulges even more stuff is called Through the Looking Glass. So it's actually two different books. This is two books in one book here. So the first book is Alice in Wonderland. The second book is Through the Looking Glass.
Jay,
So,
this is the setup you had when I used to watch you like every day. You had the movies behind you.
oh, you mean the bookshelves?
Yeah. The bookshelf. I mean, you had the bookshelf behind you. I remember that vividly. Oh yeah,
And
you know about the Black Cube, don't you?
we have you
We did an old live stream on that maybe like 4 or 5 years ago on the Black Cube.
Yeah, you had some real good stuff along. Like I'm sure you still do.
You had really good stuff a long time ago. I'm just joking.
No, yeah, that didn't come out right. You know what I mean, though. Like when you had the short hair, bro, I thought you were two different people until recently.
Yeah, here's an article about some guy wrote a book actually on Lewis Carroll and the Golden Dawn. I think it's this article talks about it.
And then Mary Pop. Oh, I just had this up. Our friend Anya Saru broke down Mary Poppins and the occult connections to that.
Oh, I did too. I wrote an article on that too.
That's also fascinating. How all
Yeah,
these
she's
childhood
supposed to be like some kind of Hindu spirit or some weird thing. I'll show you what I wrote about it.
I
She's
tried to
called,
get Ani on tonight with Jay, but he had some other podcast. He's so good. Ani's amazing with his breakdowns.
It's just funny how all of the childhood stories are all connected to like occult, like hardcore occult societies and stories that are pretty old. And then you get Eminem, who is like, I got that in Big Willie style into fourth grade. And that was pushing the same type story. And I was just thinking of Alice in Wonderland. If Samuel Mathers is Marshall Mathers, Eminem's grandfather, then he's B Rabbit. So I feel like there could be a rabbit connection in with that.
it's I'm sorry, it's Theosophy. That's what I'm thinking of. The influence is Theosophy for Mary Poppins.
Right.
If you look at my article there, I think I go into some of that.
That's interesting. I want to read that article.
It's in the chat there. This was Jamie and I watched Mary Poppins back in like 2018, I think. And I wrote this.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay. Let me see. That's jay.com. Jay, we got to get you we got to put you up a Truth Mafia channel, man, on Truth Mafia. Get some of this good stuff up there.
Travers is who I was trying to think of, is the author, and he worked for British intelligence.
Wow.
I think that's right. P.L. Travers worked for the Ministry of Information for British intelligence. That's crazy. I've forgotten that. I didn't even remember that.
That's wild.
Also, do you write a lot of blogs on your website?
I don't write as much on the website anymore because I got to the point where pretty much anything I write, I just go ahead and put it into the next book that I'm going to do. So I feel like because I wrote for free for like 10 years, I don't really want to write for free anymore. So anything I do write, I'm putting it into a new book, basically.
Yeah, I've been doing blogs for a long time, and I'm actually working on a couple different projects right now because you ain't lying, man. When you write for free, it it gets old real quick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I did that long enough that, like, all right, I'm not doing it for free anymore. So
when could we expect a new book?
I mean, I've got about a half 150 pages of the next Esoteric Hollywood book. It's just that I've gotten so busy with all the like traveling and the podcast that and videos that it's like really hard to find time to write. But hopefully, maybe in the next year, I don't know. I
would love to get that copy before Christmas. You know, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about. I need to put this Mary Poppins thing in there because it fits very well with a lot of what I'm talking about in the new one. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate those offers, and thank you guys. I am gonna have to head out pretty soon. I got to go do something, but
yeah. Hey, listen, we want to thank you for coming, Jay, and you know it was definitely been fun, man.
Yeah, it was a great chat. I'd love to have another conversation with you guys if you want to.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for taking the time and coming on today. And guys, all his links are down in the description. So make sure you go support, show some love to jaysanalysis.com. Follow him on his YouTube channel. And Doenut, you know, thank you for coming on today as well. We'll just end this thing. Make sure you hit them likes and share the video, guys. And thanks for rocking out with us today. All links are in the description. We're
Awesome.
out of here.
You guys have a good night.